Okay, Jeff?
Hi everyone, I'm John Walzak, your zoo's director, and thank you for joining us this Monday. We're down here at the Amur Tiger exhibit, and you're watching Angela train Vikentii, and we got a special treat for you today. We've got our senior vet, Dr. Zoe Macy, that's going to be available to answer any of your questions about animal health and the COVID virus, and why we do all this training and why it's beneficial for our animals. But before we get cranking, I want to thank Ford Motor Company and T-Mobile for sponsoring our spring and summer and helping us through this. Even though we're closed, they're hanging with us to make sure we can pay our light bill, and we really, really appreciate that. I also want to thank Papa John's in the Highlands Papa John's, and Annette's team has been serving us lunch twice a week, and we really appreciate that. So we're watching Vikentii, our male adult Amur tiger, and Dr. Zoli, why is it so important that we do these operant conditioning sessions with these guys?
Yeah, so as the veterinary staff here at the Louisville Zoo, we really rely on keepers like Angela and Emily and the others to be our eyes and ears. So a training session like this gives the staff a really close look at the animal and how they're behaving. They can look at their body condition and their hair coat and how they chew their food, their interest in food, if their eyes are bright, if they have if they're limping or have a lameness or any other issue that might be a subtle change or sign of it. So the veterinary staff here at the zoo consists of 2 veterinarians and 3 veterinary technicians, and then we also have a hospital keeper. And so again, we really rely on the keeper staff to be our eyes and ears to alert us to problems in the animal collection that might be a medical thing that we'd have to deal with.
You know, I often tell people that with all the experience that our keepers have, it's kind of like having a parent that's a nurse practitioner that spends 9 hours a day with you 5 days a week. So they really, really, really know their animals, and the little, most subtle clue can help us start whatever care needs to be given to them medically at the earliest possible time.
Yeah, animals can really hide their signs, so they can be ill before we know it. So it really takes an astute eye and a relationship to pick up on subtle changes in the animal's behavior.
Don't forget to put your questions in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer them.
So Dr. Zoli, while we're waiting for questions, I've got one for you. You and I are social distancing, and right now I am not wearing a mask, although I do have one that when I get closer to people and beyond, I wear it. But right now we see Angela's wearing a mask with the tiger, and she's close to the tiger. So can you tell us a little bit about why she's doing that?
Sure. There was a case a few weeks ago that was reported in the news where a Malayan tiger at a zoo in New York City was found to be infected with this novel coronavirus that causes COVID-19 in humans, and the cat had some respiratory signs and is recovering and doing well, but we know that in rare instances, although this is a human-to-human transmission disease, in rare instances there's cases where a sick human or an asymptomatic human can even pass this novel coronavirus to an animal. So it happened in a tiger and a few other cats in New York City. There's been some reports of 2 domestic cats in New York State as well, and some actually some farmed mink in the Netherlands is a new report. So we take precautions by wearing a mask, because the cat is not gonna is less likely to give it to us. It's more likely the cat would obtain it from a sick human. So Angela and the other staff here, they get near our cats. If they're within 6 feet, we'll wear a mask.
We have a few questions coming in now. What is he eating, for one? Carson, who's 6 years old, wants to know, why do tigers have stripes? And Cole wants to know how fast they can run.
Who wants to lead with? This is Emily. Emily is one of the keepers of the tigers, and she's going to tell you what they eat.
Well, all of our cats get a raw commercial diet. It's actually made of horse meat. Cats don't really care for the beef that we eat, so they actually have this raw whole horse diet. It's got vitamins and minerals added, and they love it. And some of it looks like hamburger. It comes in this big 5-pound log, and then they also get some chunk meat as well, which they also enjoy. It's kind of like steak, and so that's another extra treat for him. Right now he's getting about 9 pounds of food every day, and that amount will change through the year depending upon the weather, on his appetite and weight. When it's cold weather, he needs more food to stay warm and keep his weight up. So he gets more food to eat in the wintertime. But with summer coming on, he's not quite as hungry, so we'll usually wind up cutting his food back some. Now, tigers are striped as a form of camouflage. That helps them to hide. They live in forested areas, and those stripes on their coat help mimic the shadows between the trees and the tall grass. And they are very, very hard to find when they are deep inside the trees and the grasses. You can walk within a foot or two of a tiger and not see them when they're in camouflage like that.
So here's a good question, which we could talk about some conservation too. Why did they change the name from Siberian tiger?
Well, that is, they've always existed in the Amur River basin of Asia, which is southeast Russia and northern China. But they changed the name because the tigers no longer range throughout all of Siberia. It's really a sad situation. They've been poached for trophy hunting, for their skins and other parts of the animal, which is extremely sad. So they now are called Amur tigers because that is their remnant range. That is the only place where they now can be found in the remnant wild on the planet. And you know, that one other question too, to go back to that, Emily, you were asking how fast a tiger can run.
Oh, that's right.
And it's tigers, along with their camouflage, the reason that they're camouflage is they're an ambush predator. So they're not camouflaged to hide away from something, they're camouflaged to hide away to attack a prey animal. And a lot of, for short distance, they're lightning fast. And as far as a long distance, they run faster than us, and that's what's important to know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But they definitely cannot run for very long distances. They do get tired quickly, but over short distances they can catch almost anything. They can go generally around 25 miles an hour is around their top speed. Of course, smaller tigers can be a little faster. The bigger they get, the heavier they get. They don't move quite as fast, but it's still fast enough and strong enough to hunt anything they want.
So another question coming in from 6-year-old Charlie, who wants to know how sharp their teeth get.
That's kind of a tough question to answer. We don't really have a measurement for the sharpness of teeth. But those teeth are very long and very sharp indeed, very pointed canines. They're designed to grab and hold. They kill their prey by a neck bite, so they need very long teeth to puncture that neck and hold on to it tight. So they do have very long, very sharp canines.
And for Charlie, you know, human beings have canine teeth too. If you look at your middle teeth, the four teeth you have up front on tops and bottoms, the ones right next to them are called their canine teeth, and ours are pretty pointy. But an ambush predator like the tiger, their teeth, if you touch them, it's a point. It'll get you.
Danielle would like to know how often they eat.
Well, the amount we feed them during the day, it'll vary. We don't do things the same way every day because we don't want it boring. If it's the same thing every day, that's boring. So sometimes we'll feed them once a day, sometimes twice a day. Most often it's twice a day, but we might feed them even 3 times or more. It just depends on what we want to do. We might feed them through training. We might put food out in the yard for them. We might hide it in places in the yard for them to find. We can put it in boxes or in other items for them to get it out. We can give it to them in a lot of different ways just to make things interesting.
Christina wants to know why tigers are separate, unlike lions in the exhibit.
Well, tigers, like most cat species, are naturally solitary when they're full adults. They can live together when they're very young, but they'll usually have the instinct to find their own territory. In most places where they live, there's just not enough prey to support multiple adult animals of the same species. So they each want their separate territory because any other tiger in their territory is a threat to their food supply and may indeed be a physical threat to themselves. Male tigers will sometimes kill cubs, so female tigers do not want boys anywhere in their territory unless they're ready to mate.
And that's a great question, by the way, because lions, you mentioned lions, why are they different than tigers? Lions are actually the exception. Tigers, all the tigers and all the big cats, bears, and even some of the great apes like orangutan, they live solitarily. So actually, lions are the exception to the rule. They're the cat that does live in family prides.
Question coming in from Jacob, age 6, who wants to know if a tiger could kill and eat a hippo.
If a tiger could kill a what?
A hippo.
The ranges don't cross,
Yeah, they don't exist in the same part of the world. But tiger's pretty, it's the largest cat predator, so a tiger can kill just about anything it wants to.
Here's another question about our tigers specifically at the zoo. How many we have, and what is their life expectancy in a managed system?
Dr. Zoll, you want to handle that one?
Sure, I might need the keepers to help me with ages, but I know Vikentee's 10. He's a 10-year-old male. We acquired him from the Hogle Zoo 5 years ago. We have in the backs off exhibit Sasha, who's I
She's
believe
7.
years
Yeah.
old, 7-year-old female. And then we also have a third tiger, our oldest Amur tiger, Marietta. And
She's 16.
16 years old.
She'll be 17 in June. All 3 of our tigers here are June babies.
Yeah, so in a zoo setting where they get all the care and safety and easy nutrition and vet care and all those things, they can live into their late teens, even into their early 20s potentially. But for a big heavy cat like this, late teens is probably more typical as far as life expectancy.
We have a question about vet checks. How do vet checks work for a tiger, and do we have to sedate them?
Yeah, a lot of our carnivores get looked at on an every other year basis, every 2 years. So all our tigers and jaguar and lions are every other year, and that's involves general anesthesia or putting them to sleep for a procedure where we could bring them up to the zoo hospital. Yes, we have a hospital here on the campus, and that involves total care. Total care, looking at their teeth, cleaning their teeth, getting blood samples, taking radiographs, getting a good hands-on feel of the cats to make sure they're healthy. Of course, we clean their teeth at that time and draw blood samples and just evaluate their health in its entirety, and that's done about every other year. And that's, again, you have to anesthetize them to do that. But of course, they're looked at by staff every day. So we're doing well checks on them on a daily basis. But the more comprehensive preventative health exams, which is what we call it, are done every other year in the big cats.
Dr. Zoli, oh, by the way, folks, we're walking and talking, so look over here, Kyle. Oh, we got a snow leopard in the passage. I don't know if you can see him, but I thought I'd explain to everybody that our tiger operant conditioning session has ended, but we haven't. So in the distance, you can see one of our snow leopards. I don't know which one that is right now. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but they're enjoying this beautiful weather and laying underneath the shade. And we built this passage so the tigers can choose where they want to be, when they want to be. So you'll see them up in there different times of day. When you come to the zoo at Halloween, it's fun to watch the snow leopards in the passage. Admittedly, they like to chase the children in their costumes. They are predators, but they're really active at that time, in the evenings and in the cool fall nights.
They know how to find the shade too, and on sunny days, they find those shade elements we've built into the passage to get a good snooze.
Where we're going to be heading next is Angela and Angeli. I knew I'd get that wrong. Angela and Emily. That's an interesting name, Angeli. I kind of like that. They're going to be coming over to the snow leopards and introducing one of them to the exhibit, and hopefully you'll get an opportunity to see them bounding around. They are incredible jumpers. They have the greatest jumping capability of any of the cats, and they also have the longest tails. Long tail, let's see, I know Zoli will know the answer for this, but I'm going to ask him, so why do they have long tails, Dr. Z?
Well, I think it's probably a few reasons. One is they come from a very cold environment where they can use that tail as like a scarf over their face and nose. And then also as they're chasing mountain goats and their prey down steep hillsides, they can use that tail as a rudder to control their movements and quick ascent and descent down the mountainside to catch their prey.
I'm going to show you a picture of a tiger while we move, so we don't have shaky cam, over to snow leopard. If you're wondering why that tiger picture's there.
Oh, Kim T's looking at us as we walk over. One of the nice things we did when we built the snow leopard exhibit is we provided lots of great views into the tiger habitat as well. Oh my, they've got some nice treats over here for the snow leopard. I think when they come out, they'll be able to sniff those out and we'll get a nice close view of them. One of the things we've been doing in designing our exhibits for, oh gosh, the last 25 years, such as in islands, in gorilla forest, glacier run, and now here. Oh, there's a snow leopard now. Can you see him, Kyle?
Let's see.
He's down in the bottom now. He's got a box full of treats. Can you see him?
I can, yeah.
But when we build these exhibits, what we're finding out is that it's great to have all these different multiple species and concentrate their holding areas so that they're all interconnected. It's very enriching for the animals to see other species. And another huge advantage is it gives our keepers less territory they have to cover. So they can work with snow leopards and tigers in the same area, and that provides a whole lot more keeper time where the zookeepers can work on all the operant conditioning. What that really means is they're training the cats and they're building a relationship. It's like when you get a new friend and you're just getting to know them. The more time you spend together, the better you know each other, there's a better chance that you have a growing friendship. And that's what we do with the keepers and the animals.
A fun question coming from 8-year-old Jada, who wants to know how these cats we're showing are different from her own cat.
Well, first of all, these have not been domesticated, Jaden. That's a great question. And your cat has gone through centuries and thousands, millennia of years of human getting those animals to be domesticated, which why when your cat likes to lay in your lap and play around the house. These, of course, are the wild cats. These have never been genetically controlled by human beings. They are what they are. So the snow leopard is a cat that's been very specialized for a unique area of the world, the Himalayas, where they live typically above 8,000 feet and up. 8,000 feet would actually be a low area for a snow leopard in terms of the mountain height. Their bodies, like we were saying earlier, are designed for jumping up and down when they have to try and obtain their prey, which is often a mountain goat. So they're different in lots of different ways. And the snow leopards coming from a cold climate have really, really thick fur and bigger paws so that they could get over the habitat, the rocky habitat, and also the snow.
How do snow leopards tolerate the hot Louisville weather?
Great question, and we'll let you know a little secret too, because it gets hot in Louisville. We know we get our 90-degree days plus. So, first of all their bedrooms are air conditioned, and when it's a really hot day, they have the choice to go and stay in the air conditioning if they like. But here's the secret part: there are several places in the exhibit where all these rocks that we built, some of them are air conditioned. So there's a cave, and the floor of the cave is chilled, so while the air might be 95 degrees, their cave temperature might be 75 degrees. And there's a ledge up here where we're hoping, which one is this? Is this Kim? This is this Maru.
Vikentee's in the passage. It's either Maru or Nisi.
Nisi? Yeah. Well, we're going to say it's Maru. Until we get a better view, we can tell you for sure. But we're hoping Maru jumps up here to this ledge. At the exhibit, there's a view area that's up at the second floor at the top of the mountain area. And, oh, you see what he's doing right now? That is how these cats urinate. When they go to the bathroom for a number one like that, they spray up into the rocky ledges to mark their territory. So you got to see some real cool science in the making there. That's one of the specialties of these cats. But this ledge on the second floor is also air conditioned. So that's how they get by the Louisville heat.
Well, first of all, happy birthday, 8-year-old Braxton, whose birthday was yesterday. He
I
wants
think
to.
you should sing, Kyle.
Oh goodness, you don't want that,
Dr.
Braxton.
Sully will back you up.
Suffice to say, happy birthday,
Happy
Braxton.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
He wants to know if animals celebrate their birthdays as well.
Well, great question. They don't celebrate them as much as we celebrate with them because we are so privileged to be able to take care of these very rare and precious animals. So some animals like Helen, our gorilla, she is the second oldest gorilla in the world. She is 62 years old right now. And so we celebrate her birthday every year in January. And we also celebrate Connick's birthday. And we do them both in January because we really don't know when they were born because they both did come from the wild. Now, most of the animals at the zoo are born at other accredited zoos, AZA accredited zoos, which are great zoos. But once in a while, when we have to, actually rebuild our exhibits to make sure that we can do this, sometimes we rescue an animal. And Connick was a rescue. Connick was abandoned by her mom on the north slope of Alaska. It wasn't the mom's fault. It just happened for reasons we don't know. And we were chosen to be her caregivers, which was really an honor. So we celebrate Connick's birthday every year in January because that's when we think she was born.
Madison has a good question about Vikentii. Do you have a blind snow leopard? And if so, how does it affect their life?
Vikentii, that's a great question. And you know what? Angela has joined us again. And I'll let her talk a little bit about that. But before we do, I just want to say Angela and Emily and Sam and all the Jesse, all the keepers in the valley that take care of these cats. Vikentii is doing so well because they have given him incredible care and they've built a great friendship with him. So Angela, tell me a little bit more about how he's doing.
Thanks, John. Vikentii's doing wonderful in his new exhibit. It took him a little while to get used to things down here. This exhibit is much larger. There's a lot more to explore for him. So it took him a little while to get used to his surroundings, but we expected that. But now he's thriving in his new exhibit. He is not blind. He does have some vision. He follows and tracks us very well, and he gets along just fine. Zoe can talk about Columboma a little more in detail, if needed.
Yeah, Vikentii was born with an eye condition where he doesn't see normally, but he can still, like Angela said, he can probably still see light and dark, and can still track keepers, and has a great relationship with his keepers.
We had a couple of questions coming in about different animals, sloths in particular, while we're waiting for the snow leopard to come back. How many sloths are we going to have in the exhibit, and then how do they defend themselves given that they move so slowly?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. So we do have two of them. Here we go. Here. Is that maroon?
It's maroon.
All right, I was guessing maroon. We were waiting for a closer view. But so yes, we have two sloths, and our exhibit will be opening probably when we reopen. It's just about complete. You just have to prop it out for them. Our two sloths. And although they're slow moving, first of all, they live way up high in trees, and they have a lot of camouflage because they actually grow algae in their fur, so they kind of blend in with the canopy. And although they do move slow most of the time, if you try and grab one or if they're attacked, they can move quick. And they've got big teeth and claws, so it might be a little bit deceptive. Even though they're moving slow, if you try to grab one, that would be a mistake because they do have teeth and claws to fend off a predator.
So we're back to snow leopard questions. Let's see. Cole wants to know what is their best sense?
Angela, you want to answer that?
I would say probably their sense of smell. What Murray's doing right now is searching for his meat out on the exhibit. We've got a trough area that food is eventually going to roll out of. We're training him to actually go into that area right now. We've got a dispenser that will eventually dispense treats. So what we're doing right now is just teaching him where that food will come from. So we've got a lot of food spread out in that trough area. So now we've trained them every time they come out here, they automatically kind of go to that area and look for that treat. So eventually we're going to pair a meatball with a particular sound. We're hoping to use a goat or a sheep sound, which is one of their natural prey items in their habitat, in their natural habitat. So I would definitely say their sense of smell is heightened.
Liam would like to know why they have spots.
Those spots help them camouflage, helps them blend in. A lot of times when you come over here to the snow leopard exhibit, people walk right by them and think there's not a cat out because they blend in so well with their surroundings. Now this exhibit is based on a village in Nepal, and so when he's up on that rock work, it's really hard to find them and spot them.
Hayden, this is our new exhibit, Snow Leopard Pass, and Hayden wants to know how high snow leopards can jump.
They can jump 49 feet across. They typically run down mountainsides pretty quickly when they're running after their prey items, which would be, again, a wild goat, a wild sheep, just about anything in their habitat. They will run downhill, but as far as going across, they can jump about 49 feet is the most anything has ever been measured with these guys.
So Grayson has a good question for Dr. Z or John. Grayson, who's 4, wants to know how we're keeping the animals safe from getting the, quote, sicky bug.
Oh, that is a perfect question for Dr. Z. Dr. Z, what do we do?
Yeah, so we have all kinds of protocols in place. You know, we don't work sick, so if we're sick, we don't come to work. Staff that are going to work near cats, like Maru here at our snow leopard exhibit, will wear a mask, because in a few instances, there's been some cases where cats have gotten sick from a human with the sicky bug. And what was part 2 of that?
No, that was it. How we're keeping them safe.
So how about this one? Does everybody know their temperature today? We take our temperatures every morning. What was your temperature this morning,
I
Dr.
was
Z?
98.8.
98.8? I was 97.3. I don't know, that was cold. Kyle, you know your temperature?
I was 97.4.
So that's another thing that we do is we take our temperatures every morning so that we can make sure that we don't have a fever. And that's important for everybody at home to do too.
There you
know,
go.
we're making plans to reopen, hopefully in the not too distant future. I can't tell you when because I don't know when. But when we reopen, we want everybody to take their temperatures before they come to the zoo too. We want to make sure that we all stay healthy and we're going to manage social distancing when we are able to reopen. But it's important to take your temperature every morning. If you're going to be out in public, you need to know.
I have a couple questions coming in from Area, age 6, who wants to know the snow leopard's tail, how it helps with balance.
Well, that's a great question. That tail, it's kind of like, if you've ever seen a sailboat, underneath it, it's got a big long thing called a keel. And that helps them, when the boat's moving, it helps them kind of maintain a direction and stay even. And that's kind of the way it works with the cat. It helps them with balance. It's the same way that a keel works with the boat, providing balance left and right. But for the cat, it provides balance in every direction when they're jumping and moving from area to area. Oh, look at that beautiful tree bone.
What is he eating, John?
And Angela and Emily can answer that. And by the way, Emily and I called you Angeli.
Yeah, that works.
Well, thank you for all the great treats and getting Maru up here. So what kind of bone is that?
That is a thigh bone. We took a lot of meat off of it. Normally there's quite a bit of meat on there, which is a whole lot more than he needs for the day. He only eats about 2.5 pounds of meat, and that meat's scattered in front of the window and throughout the exhibit. But that's just a bone, and that helps keep his teeth clean, and it provides him some enrichment. He'll gnaw on that for a little while, go off in the exhibit, come back, and that keeps him busy off and on throughout the entire day.
It's almost 2:30, but we have one really good question that a lot of people ask every week about, do the animals miss people?
Well, I've answered that a couple times, and how about Angela or Emily? You want to answer that?
Well, some of the animals do and some of them don't. A lot of the animals like to people watch as much as the people like to watch the animals. I know our snow leopards enjoy hanging out in the passageway and watching people go back and forth. And sometimes they will even play chase with people. They'll run after people. We'll play chase with them too. But they do enjoy that interaction with the public.
All right, so there's verification. I've answered that the same way, Emily, and Emily and I did not share answers beforehand. Thank you. I agree.
If you guys would mind a nice pan, I was going to show you how close the tigers were to the snow leopards, but it appears he's walked away. I'm sorry.
Right, that's one of the neat things about this exhibit is we designed it so that the tiger and snow leopard, although they're not going to cross paths in the remnant wild, it's an enrichment for them to see each other and smell each other. It really works well with the exhibit. And Kyle, you said we're kind of running.
It's 2:30, yeah.
Okay, well, a couple of things. First, let me thank Angela and Emily, got their names exactly right, and Dr. Z, Dr. G. Macy, for being here with us today. Kyle, thank you for organizing us and doing all this. Thanks for all the cool treats. Thanks to Vikentii and Maru for being here, and really appreciate you all joining us. We hope you are staying well and safe, practicing social distancing. Remember, at least 6 feet, get your mask. We can't wait till we can reopen the zoo, and when you come here, we're going to make sure we keep you safe, and we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to make sure you stay 6 feet away from people. Pack your mask, put it on your face. And let's do safe things. Wash your hands. Do all those things you've heard many, many, many times, but it never hurts to be reminded. And I would like to thank our sponsors once again, Ford Motor Company and T-Mobile, for making this possible. Thank you, Ford. Thank you, T-Mobile. And a shout out to the Highlands Papa John's for feeding us twice a week. And I've got a question for everybody else. What's the animal that you would like to know more about? And I'll tell you what, send your questions into Kyle. Let us know what animal you'd like to visit with, and we'll do that on one of these future Mondays, one of the other Facebook Live feeds from the zoo. So let us know what animals would you like to visit, and we'll make sure that happens. Thanks, everybody. You have a great week. Don't forget, you can tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 and what, 1:30 on Thursday?
Thursdays at 11.
11. Okay, sorry, I've been saying 1:30. Thursdays at 11 to find out more about the animals. Here's some educational content. And of course, there's always Fish Fridays. Stay safe.